Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is a little bit of an accountability video for me and an update video for you. If you have followed the channel for a little while, you'll know that towards the beginning of last year, I started a little bit of a reorganisation and destash project for myself, where I'm trying to let go of some of the stash that I have, either by means of using it or by actually putting it out for sale for rehoming some things, to try and get my stash to a more manageable level. I have got a certain amount of space up here in my craft attic, and my yarn stash is starting to overflow the space that I kind of designated for it. I'm just getting to the point where this room is in constant chaos and I don't really want to come up and spend any time in it, which is such a shame because I am very lucky to have this space to use. So I'm trying to manage the things that I have and slowly go through what I have and kind of reassess. As part of this project, I decided to set a little fun challenge for myself, and so this time last year, I can't believe it's been a year already, I set aside some yarns that I challenged myself to either use or lose, and I called it my self-destructing yarn basket. So I thought it'd be fun to do an update, a follow-up video for that, to see what I did manage to use and what I'm going to be letting go, what I'm going to be destashing. There might be tears. Then I thought it would be fun at the end of the video to kind of start this process again and make myself another self-destructing yarn basket as a way of trying to help me pick some projects for some lovely yarns in my stash. Each time I do this, it's going to get harder and harder because a lot of the things that I have been willing to part with, I've already done so. So each time I do this project, it's going to hurt me more if I don't get around to using the yarns. But that's the point, right? It's to try and focus me in on using what I have and being a little bit mindful about the yarns that I collect, the things that I bring into the house. Yeah, time to go through those yarns. If I'm able to do some fancy editing, I will. I've never tried the whole video in video thing before, and my editing skills are pretty basic. So we'll see if I can get a video to pop up here, then we'll watch some things together. Right, so let's check out the video from last year. I'm now going to put some constraints or some goals around some skeins in my stash. So I've got 9 quantities of yarn, not quite 9 skeins, but 9 quantities of yarn that will self-destruct in 1 year. So from the moment that I post this video, I'm going to put a little reminder in my diary for a year's time, and I will be revisiting that video in a year, and if I haven't used the skeins that I'm sharing with you today in the next 12 months, then I will be destashing them in one way or another. I should be letting them out into the world. So yes, there we go. That was kind of my driver for posting this video, and the year is up. Here we are. Here I am, keeping my promise. So let's get into the yarns that were in the basket. First off, I have this beautiful skein of yarn from Bird Street Yarns. It's a Mr. B yarn. It's the Fallen Hard colourway, and it's the Hiddleston 4-ply base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 100 grams, 425 meters, and it's a beautiful grey base with lots of colour pops on it. Okay, so coincidentally, the first skein that I showed last time is actually the yarn that I've cast on most recently. So last month I just slipped under the wire thanks to the lovely folks in our YouTube community who helped me do this and I cast on a project from the Mr. B yarn, or the Bird Street yarn. I am currently making myself a pair of fingerless mitts, and I just recently shared these on my wrap-up video, which I think will be the video that's gone up on the channel before this. I've got lots of ends to weave in on my first mitt, mostly because I decided to add a contrast colour around the edges. So yes, thanks past me for making that decision. Future me has all of these ends to weave in. Almost finished the first mitt bar the weaving in the ends, and I'm a good way through the second mitt. I reckon with a couple of evenings of work these will be done, and I'm going to have loads of this yarn left, but yarn number 1 can be ticked off the list. I have used it, and anything left over I think will probably end up in a pair of socks. So I should get a pair of fingerless mittens and a pair of socks from this yarn. I really want some extra sort of short socks in my wardrobe for the summer, and there'll be plenty of yarn left from that. So my thought is, once I finish the mitts, I might actually cast on pretty much straight away and also make myself a pair of socks out of that yarn. So one yarn, two projects, that's win-win. Let's check out the next yarn that is in our self-destructing yarn basket. The second is a twofer. So I've got two skeins of yarn from the lovely Merino skewer, which again I purchased at Wonderwall, and I had the thought of making some sort of colourwork project with these two skeins. They're double knit and they're British wool. The base is a heathered grey lamb's wool and the colours are dyed by hand by Marina. This is looking good so far because I have in fact also recently knit a project from those two yarns. Don't worry, things will go downhill the further we get into the video. So yes, I made the Wildflowers cap, a pattern by Mary Jane Mockleston, and I knit this as part of our 12 cast-ons make along this year. I still need to tighten up this pom-pom. If you've watched those other videos with this hat, you'll know that I keep going on about tightening this pom-pom so it's not flopping around so much. I did manage to knit up those two yarns into a colourwork project as I had originally intended to. So I'm really happy with how these two colours played together, how this project turned out. So 2 quantities of yarn in, no yarns have yet self-destructed. It's not going to last. Let's check out what's in the basket next. My third quantity of yarn from the Wonderwall stash is again another twofer. I've got 2 skeins of this beautiful Wensleydale 4-ply yarn from River Knits, and orange and grey, it's one of my favourite colour combinations, and I just haven't been inspired or just haven't had the time to pick these up and cast them on, and they're just too beautiful to sit languishing in stash. So I'm hoping that by putting them on this list it will encourage me to cast on with them in the not too distant future, and if I don't, then this will be a bit of a punishment because this is probably the yarn that I would be most sad to let go. Wah, wah, wah. Can you tell? This is making me quite sad. This is the Wes 4-ply by River Knits, and I purchased this at the 2019, I think, Wonderwall. Wensleydale is one of my favourites. I just have not come up with a project for this yarn, and as I mentioned in last year's video, this is really just too beautiful for it to be languishing in my stash. I haven't managed to come up with a project for it in the last year, so this yarn will actually be going up on my destash page, and I'm kind of regretting this whole experiment. Bye bye beautiful Wensleydale. It's my own fault. I've had a whole year and I haven't done anything with this, so time to let go. Okay, it is with a heavy heart that we shall carry on, and we'll check out what went into the basket next. Next up, I've got just this little 50-gram skein of yarn, which I believe is a superwash merino nylon blend. And there used to be a yarn shop reasonably local to me in a town called Cowbridge. It's now sadly shut down. But when I first moved here to Wales, and we're talking like 6 years ago now, I had a car and I drove around and I visited some yarn shops in towns nearish to me, and in the yarn shop in Cowbridge they had some skeins of yarn that were dyed by a localish indie dyer, the Old Piggery, and I picked up this one, and the colourway is Tropical Sea. So I am happy to say the Tropical Sea colourway did make it out of the basket and into a project. It's a project that I gifted. I ended up making a pair of socks for James's mum last year from that 50-gram skein of yarn. So I don't have it to share with you, and I don't have the socks to share with you. I don't think I even took a photo of the socks, which is a huge fail. But they did get gifted and that yarn did get used. So that's a thumbs up from that perspective, but sorry, I don't have anything to sort of share with you to show you the finished object for that. Anyway, let's check out the next quantity that went into the basket last year. And speaking of skeins of yarn that I might turn into projects for others, I have a skein of Regia Perfect in my stash, and I think with the brown base and then a little bit of jazzy colour at the top, might be one that might could become a perfect pair of socks for James's dad. I did, in fact, as I thought, also knit up this skein of yarn and gifted the socks to James's dad for Christmas. However, just as per the previous gift pair, I have been really lax and I didn't take a picture of the finished socks. I actually got both of those pairs of socks, I think, done well ahead of Christmas time, so there was no excuse for me not to have had the time to take the photos. I just, for one reason or another, didn't get round to it. So the Regia Perfect yarn also got used, so thumbs up for that. We're not doing too badly. Not doing too badly. Only one quantity of yarn, 2 skeins, have so far self-destructed. So let's check out the next quantity of yarn. 4 skeins of yarn left to share with you, and 2 are from one of my favourite indie dyers who sadly is no longer dyeing yarn, or at least has not been dyeing yarn recently that I could tell, and it was the lovely Helen of Yantan Tethery Yarns. This first one, which is Cross the Purple Skies colourway, which is just a lovely sort of tonal, really light sort of lilac-y purple colour. And then I also have, and these are the same base, it's 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and this is the Seville colourway. Okay, so sadly 2 more yarns that are going to go for destash. They will be self-destructing. Not literally, they're just self-destructing from my stash. These 2 gorgeous colourways from Yantan Tetherer, and I do feel sad about this because, as I say, Helen isn't dyeing anymore, but I do have a couple more skeins from her in my stash that I am still keeping and I am still feeling more drawn towards. It's just these 2, which the orange one in particular is a kind of surprise to me, but I think I have another orangey one from Helen in my stash, which is why I decided I didn't need to keep both of them. But yeah, I just haven't felt drawn towards working with these. I almost cast on something for my niece from this purpley one, but I never quite got round to it. So yeah, I haven't worked with them. I haven't been drawn to them. I haven't come up with any projects for them. So these ones will now be leaving my stash. Again, I feel quite sad about it, but I'm also at peace with it. I'm at peace with it because of this whole process. You know, I've given myself a year to do something with these yarns. I haven't got round to it. I still don't have projects in mind for them. So better that they go out into the world and be put to use than me keep clinging on to them. So yeah, these 2 are self-destructing. I think we're almost at the end now, maybe 2 more quantities of yarn to go. So let's check out what went into the basket this time last year. 2 skeins left, and the first one is a bit of a mystery. I believe I might have won this in a knit along or some sort of giveaway in the past, and my brain is telling me it's a mix of merino and tencel. Maybe it will be a good candidate for one of my charity hats, perhaps. I am happy to say that the mystery skein of yarn did in fact get worked up into a project, and I still have that project here with me. I knit up a worm hat from that yarn, and it's this gorgeous combination of these sort of purpley colours with some corally colours. Kind of reminds me of a sunrise. It's in that sort of colour wheelhouse, and this is a hat that I actually knit for donation last year, and I thought I'd sent it off, but I was having a little rummage in the corner where I keep my basket of things that I'm going to donate, and behind the basket I found this hat. So it obviously slipped off the basket. At the end of the year I had quite a big pile of things, so it obviously slipped out of the basket and fallen down behind, and I forgot to pack it up. So this is going to stay in my basket for another few months, and it will go into the donation pot this year. But yeah, it got used up and it knitted up really nicely, and I'm really pleased to have been able to find a use for the beautiful yarn that I won, and hopefully when I donate it, it will go to a new home and someone will get a lot of joy out of wearing this. So that, I think, just leaves us with 1 more quantity of yarn that went into the basket last year. The final skein of yarn is another one that is tugging at my heartstrings because I really love it. It's dyed by my beautiful, amazing friend Jenny of Owl About Yarn, and it was a special for the Knit to Tea retreat, or one of the Knit to Tea retreats, and it's a BFL Boo base, which is 80% superwash Blueface Leicester and 20% bamboo, so it might be quite a nice one to try for some no nylon socks. So yes, the final skein of yarn that went into the basket will also sadly be self-destructing. It's this gorgeous bamboo and Blueface Leicester mix, and I just didn't quite find a project for this. My camera battery just died. I'm not sure where I was waffling. I know I was talking about this lovely BFL Boo skein from Owl About Yarn. Yeah, sadly this will be going in, letting this go, sending it out into the world, and hopefully it will find a new home with someone who will find the perfect project for it. There we go. I think I ended up putting 11 skeins of yarn into my self-destructing yarn basket, sort of 9 quantities altogether, because I counted sort of some of them as sort of a twofer, including this beautiful Wensleydale. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm letting it go, never mind. So yes, I've got 5 skeins of yarn altogether that are self-destructing, so not too bad. This whole experiment definitely did end up working for its intended purpose, i.e. this basket sat within my eye line up here in the craft room, and I was bearing it in mind anytime I wanted to cast on a new project. I cast on some projects for the sort of 12 cast ons. I was always kind of thinking, and having these yarns out and in my line of sight just meant I was thinking about them and cogitating over possible projects. I used a good amount of the yarn, so yeah, sad to be letting these go, but it's time, and I hope they will find good new homes. I will be putting them on my Instagram destash page in the first instance. If you are interested in rehoming any of these, they will be available there. As that was a reasonably successful experiment, slightly heartbreaking, but also very cathartic, I think it will be nice to kind of repeat the process again and come up with a new basket for the next year. I was going to put this all in one video, but I think I will come back another time and share with you the self-destructing basket for the coming 12 months. So if you're interested in seeing what's going to be going into that basket, then I hope you will join me again soon for that video. It will be coming up hopefully in the next week or two. In the meantime, do let me know, are you someone who has no limits on your stash, other than sort of what you can afford, your financial limits of course? Do you have small space for your stash? Do you try and sort of keep tabs on what you have? Are you going through a similar process where you're trying to get stash under control? Do let me know. Let's talk all things yarn organisation and stashing in the comments. I love to hear all different perspectives on the subject of stash and how different people view that. So yeah, do chat with me in the comments below. I shall be back again soon with some more making content, so I hope you will join me for the next video. But until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some other things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.